Okay, so first things first, my name's Poppy, 24, and I'm from Birmingham. I feel like I'm on the chase doing that, you know, like when they introduce themselves. Anyway, I'm doing this to talk about my disability, my condition, what it is, how it affects me, blah, blah, blah. So I've got a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder. There's 13 different types of EDS. I call it EDS for short because Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is way too long. And I've got type 6, also called Kyphoscoliotic EDS. Bit of a mouthful, so we won't say the whole thing every time because that's just unnecessary. I really want a cup of tea and I'm starving. Anyway, so it's a genetic condition, so you're born with it, you'll die with it. So everyone's got collagen in their body. It's the glue that holds everything together. Mine doesn't work properly, so it's really floppy. So you've got collagen in your skin, your tendons, your organs, everywhere. And it keeps everything sturdy. Mine is salty, so it means everything's loose and floppy and shit. Doesn't work properly. I'm going to talk about how my EDS affects me. Loose and unstable joints. My joints can dislocate easily and sort of click in and out of place. My joints hyperextend, so they bend back further than the normal range. Fragile skin. It's stretchier than other people's because your skin's full of collagen and mine's faulty, and it's thin, so it cuts easily. Then when it cuts, it takes longer for it to stop bleeding. I scar easily. Generalised hypertonia, which means throughout my whole body, my muscle tone is decreased. It's low muscle tone. So when normal people relax, their muscles still have some sort of resistance, whereas my body is really floppy. So if someone was to relax, I can't fully imagine what it's like because even though I've met normal people, I forget what's normal and what's not. So I imagine that when someone puts their arm up and relaxes like that, and they relax their arm, it's kind of like that. But when I relax, my hand just completely flops, and there's just nothing holding it there. It's just completely floppy. So I imagine if someone normal puts their arm up like that and then relaxes the wrist, I think it goes to about there, but mine just completely hangs loose. It's not something I'm deliberately doing because I have people say to me like, oh, stop, that's disgusting, stop doing that. But I'm not actually going out of my way to do anything. It's literally just how my body is. Floppy Poppy. So I'm Floppy Poppy with hyperextensible joints, fragile skin, shit body, low muscle tone. I'm broken, but it's fine. So I can't walk very far. I use an electric wheelchair to help me get about if I'm walking long distances or if I'm having a bad pain day, because EDS causes pain as well. The only analogy I can really use is my body always feels like jelly. If you can imagine, that's my body throughout everything. It's just one big floppy jelly mess. So when I was born, they were like, shit, what's wrong with this baby? When I was 6 weeks old, they diagnosed me with muscular dystrophy, and I thought I had muscular dystrophy until I was about 14. And then when I was about 14, my consultant said to me, look, I know your whole life you've thought you've had this, but we actually think you've got something else called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is correct. So then I was sent to see a professor. They did some clinical testing. They were like, yeah, that's what you've got. And I was like, okay. And they said to me, we think you've got a type called type 6, but to clarify, we'd have to do genetic testing. At the time, they said it would be a skin biopsy they'd have to do. We were like, I don't really want to go through it, do you know what I mean? So I said, no, don't need to know my type. But then when I was about 20, 21, let's say 20, I decided that I did want to know what type. So I went to see a geneticist, and they took a urine sample. It was literally as simple as pissing in a pot, and that's how they found out what my genetic mutation was, and it was my type 6 EDS. The risks that come with type 6 EDS are retinal detachment. So I don't know why I was going to explain that. It's when your retinas detach, because your eyes are obviously made up of collagen, so they're more fragile. So I go to see an ophthalmologist every 2 years, and they check my eyes, check everything's all fine and dandy, and so far so good. I also am at risk of aortic aneurysms, arteries rupturing, my blood vessels rupturing, because they said that because everything's floppy, that includes my blood vessels. So floppy and fragile. I use the word floppy a lot because I'm floppy poppy, and it's just how I see myself. But yeah, there's risk of your medium-sized arteries, I think, being fragile, which means that if there's any pressure on them or too much pressure, they could just burst. Yay. Spontaneously. I don't know, it could just happen. Like, I could be recording this. No, I'm joking. I have heart checks because of that. So I've got my next one on Friday or Saturday, actually. So in my heart check, I get ultrasound scan of my heart, ECG of my heart, MRI scan of my heart. They just want to check that everything's fine, which in a way means I'm actually getting more reassurance than healthy people, because most healthy people my age wouldn't have ever had their heart checked. So if there are any problems, it'd be undetected. Not to scare anyone, but do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just seeing the positives in it. I know that my eyes are healthy, and I know that my heart's healthy for now. I mean, this weekend I could get them checked and find out I'm about to go blind and drop dead, but we'll see, you know. They've said that pregnancy is risky. There's a risk of your uterus rupturing or your organs, because it's a lot on your body, as well as, like, you know, obviously the joint dislocations that will probably happen. Luckily, I don't want kids, haven't got a maternal instinct at all, never broody, much prefer cats to kids, so I'm not that bothered. So when I was diagnosed, I was told that there'd only ever been 60 cases reported of the type of EDS I have in the world ever, which makes it harder, because although I'm like, yeah, at least it makes you individual, it's like there's not a lot to go by. I don't worry, but I'm just like, I'd quite like to know. So yeah, this has probably been awful. I don't feel that happy with it, but I'm just going to post it. But that was just meant to be a sort of, what is EDS, what is type 6, and how does it affect me? So I'm going to try and edit this now so that it goes from being 25 minutes to like 10 or less, hopefully, because I do chat some shit. But thanks for watching, and see ya. Okay, so I hope I do this right, because I'm like editing it into the video, because I did the video hours ago, but I've just remembered that I didn't mention this, and I think it's quite a major feature. I spoke about the fact that my joints hyperextend, but I didn't really show what that meant. So I don't know how far other people's, normal people's hands go back, but if I'm stretching my hand, there's literally nothing stopping it. There's no resistance at all, so it goes completely back. My thumb would go completely back. I can lick my elbow. You know, that's usually how I sit. If I'm sitting relaxing watching the telly, I'll show you. So I'd sit like this. That'd be normal for me. It's not uncomfortable for me or anything, it's just how my joints work. Okay, well, I've added that on to the end of the video because I couldn't work out how to stick it in the middle of it. Well, I tried, but it was too hard. So yeah, well done. If you saw that, you actually got to the end of the video, which I'm impressed by, because I can't really imagine that many people would want to watch it. But if you saw all that elbow licking and stuff, well done, you made it. Like,